Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. I am your host, Eva Medalek, and I help busy professionals advance their careers without causing sacrifice to their personal life. And so I want to talk to you about that cost, that sacrifice of trying to have it all and the hustle and grind of working all the time. You know, back when probably about 12 years ago or so, I was working as a dental hygienist, my first career, my first love, if you will. And it was during the first, uh, what do I want to say? When the economy had this really severe downturn. And I remember having a full-time job in San Francisco and then being told literally days before my 50th birthday that I was being cut, downsized, reduced, all of that stuff. And I remember the feeling of, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm 50 years old. I've got to go on interview after interview, and I'm planning this big birthday trip. So all of the fear came over me. And as a result of what had happened, I actually decided to become an entrepreneur and start my own business because I realized that working for other people, I was never going to be able to live my dream life. But here's what happened. As I was building my business, I was still working my full-time job. I had two jobs at the time. And I was in the hustle and grind of trying to be it all and do it all too. So not only was I working, what was my commute? Like an hour commute each way, a 9-hour day. So that's 9, 10, 11, 11 hours a day. And then I was building my business. So I was studying on how to build a real estate investment company. I was building my business. All of this stuff was going on. But I was also doing all the shopping, doing all the cooking, doing all of the laundry. And I took it all upon myself. And I was literally working. It felt like 24 hours a day, but I did sleep, just not enough. Not enough sleep. My point in sharing this with you is that that level of hustle and grind that I was on was overwhelming and exhausting. And here's how it affected me. When you don't feel your best, you don't show up your best. Ugh, excuse me for the frog in my throat. And when you are working so hard that you have this level of exhaustion and overwhelm, it affects your health. It affects your mood, the quality of your relationships, because you're not feeling your best and you're not really showing up as your best self. And what I experienced was really being disappointed and frustrated all the time. I was always busy. I was doing a lot. I was exhausted. And it was a very heavy energy. Now, some of you may be experiencing the same kind of feelings where you're just working so hard, trying to survive in life, trying to survive with everything that's going on in the world. You're working hard, you're doing your best for you and your family, but what it's doing to you as a person is causing some discord in your personal life. You may be suffering from back and neck pain. You may not be feeling well. You may be kind of dragging during the day, maybe headaches. I mean, so many things come up where personally it affects our physical well-being. And then as your mood, it could be Mrs. Cranky Pants, Mr. Cranky Pants. You may be kind of short-tempered, short and snippy, expect people to know what you're thinking, wanting people to be mind readers, like they should see I'm tired, they should leave me alone, all of that stuff, right? And so who is it that said they need coffee? Here, I'll drink to you. Barcia, I think your name is. So let me just say hi to a few people who are joining me live here on the Facebook. Joshua A.B., Barcia, Christy. Some of these names are really hard for me to pronounce, guys, so I'm going to pronounce the easy ones. Richard, Somebody wants me to say hi to Justino. Hi, Justino, Lisa, Amar, Tersana, um, Donna. So thanks, everybody. Lisa, right. Let me just read what you wrote. You broke yourself by working so hard, burning the candles at both ends. Hmm. That's what happens. That's what happens to so many of us. And so, what we get to do is really looking at what's important for us. What's important now? What are our priorities? The wake up call for me came, and I've shared this in the past, and I'll share it again. Was when you know my relationship with my husband was affected. I was really cranky and pissed off at him all the time because I was frustrated. I felt that sorry about that phone. Felt that I was doing all the work myself. I didn't feel really supported. But here's the thing, I also didn't want any help. I also felt that I was supposed to be able to handle it all, to do it all, to be able to be everything for everybody, whether it's being a wife, being a mom, being a worker, hiring people for the business that we were in. I felt that I really needed to do it all, and I was really, like Lisa said, burning the candle at both ends to where I was spent. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't feeling good, and that affected my relationships with other people. And it wasn't until, my marriage got into serious trouble that I realized that I had to own the responsibility for who I was being and how I was showing up in my relationship. It was really, um, it was a make or break time. It was a punch in the gut, a two by four to the head, whatever you want to call it. It was like, oh my God, you're so busy doing everything you can to be successful that you're leaving behind the people that you want to be successful for. The life you want to build with these people, they're not going to want to be with you. You're not going to have them there at the end for you because you've alienated everybody because you don't feel good. You're working so hard. You're cranky all the time. You're just not performing your best. And so, my point in sharing all this to you is, don't make the same mistakes I did. I share my story so that if you recognize the path that you're on and how you're sacrificing your health, your well being, or your relationships so that you can be more successful in life, take a good hard look at what's important to you. Get really clear on what your priorities are. My priorities are my family, but I had that excuse. Well, I'm working hard for them. Meanwhile, nobody wanted to be around me, and I may not have them by the time I reached the top of this proverbial mountain that I was climbing. And so I wanted to share with you and give you a reminder to really look at what's important for you. Be clear on what your priorities are and make decisions that support your priorities. But the number one thing that's important when you are trying to do it all and be it all too is you've got to own the responsibility of creating and setting boundaries, boundaries that support your health, boundaries that support your well-being, boundaries that support your relationships. And, most of us go through life wanting to have this perfect work-life balance, and we expect it to look equal. But when you are looking at a scale that is perfectly balanced and equal, the number on the scale is 0. And that's what happens when you're trying to achieve the perfect balance between your professional life and your personal life. You've actually zeroed out the results. And so when you're having in your mind, I need to balance everything, I need to balance everything, you're actually creating that level of stress, burnout, and overwhelm that's causing you to not have balance. But what I want to say about balance is it's not equal. You get to find out what balance looks for you in your life. There may be times when you've got to spend extra energy in the job. There's times when you gotta spend extra energy with your family. So the balance looks like this. This is what your scale looks like. It's always moving. Women, you may know how that scale fluctuates with your weight, right? How did I gain 3 pounds from yesterday? But yeah, that's what the balance looks like. And it's important for you to I don't know why I have this frog in my throat, but it's important for you to figure out, you have control to figure out what side of the scale needs adjusting. You can add or subtract as you see fit, but you've got to set those boundaries. Like, I'll give you an example of what that looks like. When I'm coaching my clients, I'm here in my office and I close the door. Now, some of the books for our other business is in this office, and there were times when my husband used to just come in and get the books, or he'd knock when I'd be with a client. And my time with my clients are private time, and I realized I wasn't clear on the boundary of the closed door. And so instead of, my first instinct was to get mad and frustrated with him, right? Like, why are you coming in? The door is closed. You should know I'm with a client. Well, how's he going to know? He's not reading my mind. I could just be in here with the door closed, maybe taking a nap or something, because I've got a couch behind me. But my point in sharing this with you is I got to share with him. It's like, honey, you're welcome to come in here anytime. But when the door is closed, it usually means I'm taping my radio show, or I'm on a podcast, or I'm with a client. So even knocking is going to disturb me. So please don't knock or come in when the door is closed. And once I said that, we created that boundary. My boundary was communicated and it was clear. Most of us expect people to know. They expect people to read our minds. He should know what the closed door means. Well, maybe he doesn't. It's my responsibility to be clear with him what the closed door means. So look at where you're creating boundaries in your life and then ask yourself, am I clearly communicating those boundaries? Am I clearly communicating why I need those boundaries? And when you're clear on your boundaries, you'll be surprised how a lot of people in your life will work to support your boundaries. I used to get migraines a lot when my kids were young. And I would tell them, I think they were probably, I don't know, 6 or 3 or something like that. Kids are loud and they're very sweet, but they're loud. And I would say, mommy needs a nap. She has a headache, so please be quiet. And the funny thing is, if one of them made a noise, the other one would shout, Mom has a headache, be quiet, at the top of their lungs, which is really, really sweet and cute. But I share that story with you is because she was supporting a boundary I set to be quiet so that mommy could nap. But in her own cute way, she was even being louder than the noise that was being made. So look at where, what your priorities are, and clearly communicate that with the people in your life that can support the boundaries that you set. That's actually the lesson for today in my Wisdom Wednesday. If this helped and supported you, just let me know in the chat. I love to hear from people. And, I do these lives really because it's so easy for us to get caught up in doing that we forget who we're being as we're doing. And that can have some really detrimental consequences to what we want to create in life. So thank you all for joining. Thank you so much. Let's see, Bobby just shared something. Bobby, I'm going to read this out loud. It might benefit everybody, okay? When I wasn't fulfilling my true purpose in life, my whole world I created for myself with my career for my family was destroyed. And I was taken out of that career and lifestyle by unexpected means. So I had to slow down and go back to my true path. I was working in business management then, away from my family many hours a week, not doing what I was meant to do. Now I'm a Reiki practitioner and energy healer, and I make my own hours and able to spend more time with my loved ones. Let's see, and I think it stopped there. I'll go back and look at it later. Thank you for sharing that, Bobby, because it's a good lesson. You know, my point, my intention is to help people before they get to the point of losing everything. I nearly lost everything when my relationship blew up. It was in severe breakdown, and that would have meant losing everything, the home, the businesses, all of that. And it was a wake up call for me to look at my responsibility for the results in my life. So, thank you all for listening. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next Wednesday at the same time. Bye.